So after 1 month of accumulation to the day, we finally get a huge Bitcoin breakout out of this bullish flag. And it's no wonder, because we are 10 days away from the halving. People are starting to realize that the halving is just 10 days away. And what they're realizing is that their portfolios aren't ready. Because I read this tweet and it says Bitcoin is priced in for the Bitcoin halving is priced in for 0.1% of the world population that understands it. The other 99.9% aren't paying attention. And we have had this lull on crypto Twitter around the halving. No one's been talking about the halving. Now, whereas 0.1% of people understand the halving and the price implications around the halving, a lot of them don't understand the implications that it has on your altcoin portfolio. So not on your Bitcoin portfolio, but actually on your altcoin portfolio. So what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about the halving or the halvening. I don't know, we should settle whether it's the halving or the halvening. We're going to talk about what it means for the price of Bitcoin. We're going to talk about what it means for the price of the altcoins on the Bitcoin ecosystem. And then I'm going to show you a whole lot of other altcoin ecosystems that are going to explode as a result of the halving. And let me tell you one thing, you're not ready for the halving. I know you think you're ready, but you ain't ready for the halving. So got a big show today. Let's go, guys. We've got a quick show today because I have to go to the airport. I'm flying to Paris Blockchain Week. After Paris Blockchain Week, it's off to Dubai Blockchain Week. So we've got a lot to do today in a very, very, very short amount of time. I also want to play you something really funny. The whole office is everyone's singing one song. We'll play that song for you guys today. So listen, we're up for a massive week this week. Not only because we have PPI and CPI this week. Remember that Powell is waiting for inflation to start coming down. The thing is, if I look at the expectations of inflation, we are expecting a little bit of an uptick in inflation. We're expecting 3.4% in inflation. If you look at PPI, which is a producer price index, I think we're expecting it to remain flat. So all in all, quite a big week this week, and we should get a lot of movement this week. And especially because we are 10 days away from the halving, it could really, really, really impact Bitcoin. It looks like everyone's just woken up and said, you know what, our portfolios aren't ready for the halving. Crazy. Our portfolios just aren't ready for the halving. It just seems like everybody woke up this weekend, and that is why we got this breakout. And I think it's a real breakout. I'll show you some data that actually shows it's a real breakout. I'll also show you some data that shows the shorts actually getting squeezed so hard because of this breakout. So we've got a lot to do today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, you know exactly what you need to do. You need to subscribe to the channel. If you're not already farming points on Banter Bubbles so that you can get Gummy, you got yourself a big problem, because you're falling behind everybody else. And I mean, let me just play you the song that one of our community members sent us around Gummy. It's crazy. It's going to stick in your head forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gummy. Yummy, yummy.
Just sing with us, bro.
Stress, take a gummy, gummy. Sleep, take a gummy, gummy. Egg, take a gummy, gummy. Put a lot of gummy. Stress, take a gummy, gummy. Sleep, take a gummy, gummy.
Okay, we'll play the song later, but I mean, you're going to get completely addicted. And I must say, Gummy is increased, the community in Gummy has exceeded any of our expectations. And if community is anything to go by, I do think we're heading for a $1 billion coin here. We've got this like crazy community that keeps sending us the most incredible content around Gummy. So if you're not already farming Gummy, you want to be farming Gummy, remember the only way to get Gummy, because we're not doing a pre-sale, we're not taking anyone's money ever for Gummy. We're not doing influencer allocations. We're keeping this a very fair launch. The only way to get the tokens is to farm them. How do you farm Gummy's tokens? Well, there's a few ways. The first thing is you can farm them on Banter Bubbles. That's where the points counter is over here. This points counter will eventually translate into tokens. The second way, and I really recommend that you do this one pretty quickly, is if you sign up onto Blowfin. So Blowfin are going to be the first exchange to launch Gummy. I know a lot of you have signed up, but sign up to Blowfin, because then you'll get your tokens into your account on Blowfin. It is one of our favorite exchanges. We are partnering up with this exchange because they partner up with us on Gummy. Then complete Sheldon Sniper School. So if you can complete Sheldon Sniper School over here, you got 1 day to sign up and actually complete it. Then you'll get in. There's literally 1 day, and you'll get an amazing course, which usually costs $3,000. You'll get that course for absolute free. So if you're not already farming, farm. Otherwise, let's get on with the show. We've got a lot to discuss today. I do want to talk about this Bitcoin breakout that we are seeing in the charts. So you can see that we finally had the Bitcoin breakout out of this flag pattern. We said that if Bitcoin doesn't go below that 60,000 and it doesn't put in that lower low first, then we could actually break up. And this is a scenario that's actually starting to play out. Now, if you notice, I'm also looking at the RSIs here. And if you look at the RSIs here, you don't have to be a genius to look and see that the RSI is also broken out of a pattern here. And that the RSI, the sentiment, the momentum has actually swung much more towards a bullish shift. Why? Because I think people have woken up and they said, hold on a second. This halving that you've been talking about for so long is now 10 days away. Shit, my portfolio is not ready. I don't own enough Bitcoin. That's a mistake, because most people think that in the halving, Bitcoin is the token that runs. And it does. But it's not where you want to be positioned. In fact, where you want to be positioned is the altcoins. Regardless of that, this move up in the price of Bitcoin could actually cause a massive short squeeze. So I read this last week that said, hedge funds currently hold a record number of short positions on Bitcoin. Futures contracts were setting up for the next GameStop. So this is a showing the short positions that hedge funds actually have on Bitcoin right now. Now, if we carry on going up and you look at the liquidity that's available, and if we get to levels of around 76,000, which is not unbelievable, let's say that, then we could actually get a massive short squeeze. In fact, when I looked at the amount of shorts that we think that there are in the markets, this will be the biggest short squeeze that we've seen in a long time. So I'd be quite surprised if we don't get it, especially because if you look at some other data points. So you don't want to be short. If you're a hedge fund, you don't want to be short when the USDT supply is in expansion, because this USDT supply is a very accurate indicator of when the market is going to expand. That means the USDT supply expansion is how many USDT there are in circulation. And what you can see is that that's really starting to push up now. The other time that you don't want to be short is when crypto liquidity is on the increase. You don't want to be short when crypto liquidity is on the increase. You also don't want to be short when spot buyers are driving the market. We're back in a position where there's the Coinbase premium and the spot drivers are actually starting to drive the market up. Who are the spot buyers? Well, I think the spot buyers, which are very hungry, is the ETFs. These ETFs ain't slowing down. So you've got BlackRock, 12,000 Bitcoin last week, Fidelity purchasing 18,000. So together between BlackRock and Fidelity, 18,000 Bitcoin was purchased. And as this tweet says, like, you would imagine that this is the first week of the ETFs, but it's not. Like, we're months into the ETF now, and we're getting these ETF providers buying Bitcoin like it's going to run out tomorrow. And it is going to run out tomorrow because we're heading for the halving. So even with the 7,000 Bitcoin that flowed out of Grayscale, we do have a net inflow. We had an 18,000 inflow, so that's quite a big one. And if we carry on at this rate, with Grayscale bleeding and IBIT or BlackRock actually absorbing Bitcoin, we're gonna get to a position where before the halving, BlackRock actually has more Bitcoin than Grayscale, and then it becomes like almost like the outflows of Grayscale don't really matter as much because they don't have as many Bitcoin relative to the rest of the market. So we're heading into happy days here. We really are heading into happy days here. I mean, a lot of people are saying that this is going to be like the 2020 fractal. I want to show you in a second what that 2020 fractal looks like. But listen, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, subscribe to our channel, because the amount of alpha that you're about to get on this channel and on the show today is going to be unparalleled. I want you to tell me in the chat if you've ever listened, and I want you to be honest, if you've ever listened to a higher alpha per minute show ever. If you have, let me know and drop a link to which show it is so that I can go and watch that show, because I'm thinking that today we're going to deliver one of the highest alpha shows per minute. If you want the highest alpha show per minute, do me a favor, smash the like button. I can see only 540 likes. We're already 10 minutes into the show. Let's get up to 3,000. Let's get everybody in here. Now let's quickly go back to this fractal over here. So a lot of people are now comparing the breakout that we've just had on Bitcoin to this 2020 fractal. So it's not only 𝗕𝗘𝗧𝗧𝗧, it's not only Tony the Bull who says, look, we're actually breaking out like this 2020 fractal over here. It's exactly the same setup. It's also 𝗕𝗘𝗢𝗢𝗡 who says that study December 2020. This feels like the December 2020 breakout. Now, what is this December 2020 breakout that everybody's talking about? Why are people getting so excited about this breakout here? Why are people likening it to the 2020 breakout? So let's get onto the big charts and let's understand what happened over here in 2020. So around here, we had the breakouts. It's actually not December, it's November, December 2020. We had the breakout. You can see that the RSIs were pretty much at the same level when this breakout happened. But that is when the crazy aggressive part of the bull market started, when we had this 2020 breakout. And a lot of people are looking at this and going, well, study the 2020 breakout. We're heading for exactly the same fractal. When this happens, things are going to start happening really, really fast. We did have that sideways consolidation for a month. Bitcoin has literally been in this, let's look at on the daily. So if you look at when this consolidation started about there, which was the 3rd of March. Now we fast forward until the 10th of April, so 5 weeks. We did have a 5-week consolidation, and now we finally had that breakout. And that's why people are getting quite excited that we are replicating the 2020 breakout. From a altcoin / retail investor. So let's talk about historically. Historically, the breakout has led to an increase in the price of Bitcoin. That increase in the price of Bitcoin is what actually brings in the retail investor. And in this case, that retail investor is the person that we're going to dump our bags on as we start exiting the bull market. So a lot of people are saying, look, retail isn't here yet. They haven't been here yet. Where the hell is retail? The prices can't go up until retail happens. It's actually the other way around. When the price goes up parabolically, the retail investor actually gets their FOMO. They haven't been here all this time. They haven't been accumulating their Bitcoin positions right through here and through the bear. They haven't done that. They are going to come in to try and capture to the get rich quick schemes over here. And there's a very short amount of time. And in this short amount of time, that's when we are going to slowly offload our coins onto the dumb retail investor that tried to come into our industry and actually try to make life-changing money by not doing the work. So you can't expect to come into this industry, not have any of the prep, not have taken any of the positions, not have learned any of the lessons, and then make life-changing money. That's not going to work unless you make it on a meme coin. And we'll talk about how you can make it on meme coins. But if I look at the YouTube subscribers, and the YouTube subscribers is probably the most accurate metric that we have as to whether or not retail is here. What it looks like to me is it looks very similar to this little spike over here. So you had this like sideways and downwards movement. You see sideways and downwards movement. Then you have this little breakout over here, which is probably the same as this little breakout over here. Then slightly down as the market goes into this sideways consolidation. Okay, so sideways consolidation. And then what happens is, bang, we get the price going up, but the price goes up as the YouTube subscribers actually come in, which is the retail investor. So what are we looking at here? Sideways consolidation, slightly down. First breakout over here, first correction, and then bang, we get the retail investor. That retail investor money is the money that we sell into and take our profits and prepare our profits for the next bull market. So all in all, it does look like the 2020 scenario is repeating itself, not only from a fractal point of view, but also from a retail investor point of view. If it carries on playing out like this, we know who our exit liquidity is, and we're just going to have to move it. Someone says run is sideways. No, I'm up only. Anyway, let's carry on. But first,
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gummy. Yummy. Stress, take a gummy.
This is that made by community member.
Take a gummy. Take a gummy. Put a lot of gummy. Stress, take a gummy. Sleep, take a gummy.
Let me know when it gets stuck in your head.
Take a gummy. Put a lot of gummy. Stress, take a gummy.
All right, let's talk about the halving. So the reason why the market started moving, I think, is because people woke up to the fact that the halving is here. It's only 10 days away. And I think people kind of got into the halving, looked at it and said, 10 days away, our portfolio is not ready. And as I said to you earlier on today, I said to you that we're 99% of the way towards the halving. So all this hard work that we've done, all this preparation that we've done, we're now 1% away from the halving. And most people, most people haven't been talking about it. In fact, more importantly, most people don't really understand what the halving means. And I don't only mean on Bitcoin and on the costs, because on the cost side, it's pretty obvious what the halving actually means. Because remember, when the halving happens, halvening, when that happens, the amount of Bitcoin that the miners earn for producing a single Bitcoin is halved. So if they were getting 12.5 Bitcoin, they're now getting 6.25. If they were getting 6.25, they're getting 3.125 Bitcoin for every Bitcoin that they manufacture, which means that their costs are about to double. The costs of producing a Bitcoin are about to double. Now, why is that important? Because specifically, if you look at this chart over here, it shows the Bitcoin production cost. And what it shows is that Bitcoin never ever drops below its production cost. And if the production cost is $30,914, the electricity of the production cost, then when the amount of Bitcoin that you can actually farm halves, that means that you need to now pay $60,000 in electricity. Now, on the one hand, Bitcoin has never gone below the electricity cost of production, except here it spiked below, and this was during COVID. And this was like for a very short period of time. And so we can kind of say that if this holds true, then effectively, we may not see Bitcoin under 60,000 again after the halving. The other thing is that you can imagine that the cost of equipment to mine Bitcoin is about to double. So you can see this is the floor price of the S9s and whatever else. The cost of production, the cost of the machines is about to double, which means that if you look at it over the next period of time, effectively, the price of Bitcoin has to remain above double where it was in the previous cycle. So a lot of people say, okay, well, if the price of Bitcoin today is 70,000, it needs to go to 144,000. It doesn't work like that. Because what you got to do is you got to take all the period into account and say, on a 4-year period, on average, the price of Bitcoin has to remain double in order for the miners to be as profitable as they were in the last cycle. So what we'll do is we'll soon do an analysis of if you take the weighted average price of Bitcoin in the last 4 years, what you would need to achieve in order for the miners to achieve the same level of profitability. And that could give us a route for what the Bitcoin price is going to be. I will prepare that analysis for you, and hopefully we'll do that analysis for you guys soon. And that is why most people actually get caught off guard. So most people, when it comes to halving, they get caught off guard. They don't realize how much of an impact and also for how long the impact has to last. So very important that you understand this, because it's not a function of the price of Bitcoin at a certain amount of time. It is a function of the price of Bitcoin for the entire period after the halving, right? Because remember, it's not about how much money you make on one day. It's about how much money you make on all the days after the halving, which also means that every dip after the halving is actually another reason for Bitcoin to shoot through the roof. Because if you're getting dips after the halving, and on average, the price of Bitcoin needs to remain higher for the miners to remain as profitable, every dip means that actually the price has to go much higher to compensate for that, to make Bitcoin or to keep Bitcoin successful. And that's where most people actually get caught out, because they think it's all about one day, one position. It's not. It's actually about an entire period after the halving. And so the halving is not seen as the end. It's not seen as the point where the price must come up. It is seen as the beginning of an era where Bitcoin needs to maintain higher prices for a long period of time. That is the exciting part of this. It's not about the price today. It's about the beginning of a new 4-year era where the price of Bitcoin has to remain theoretically on average above $60,000 per Bitcoin in order for us to remain as profitable. And that's what the miners actually need. Now, look, that's a very simplistic thing because you do get an adjustment of the hash rate, etc. But suffice to say that we are about to enter a new era, and that new era kicks off in 10 days. And what I know for sure is that most people's portfolios aren't ready for this new era. They're not. Because most people don't understand what's going to run. So yes, we've had a little Bitcoin breakout, and it's been cool. Yeah, nice little Bitcoin breakout after a little bit of sideways. But this is not how to prepare for the portfolio. And also, how you prepared for the portfolio in the last Bitcoin halving in 2016, when there was no Ethereum and very few altcoins, is very different from how you prepare for 2020 and before that 2016 is very different from how you're going to be able to prepare for this halving. So let's talk about how to position your portfolios. Obviously, you want to have Bitcoin in your portfolio. Because as I said to you, what the halving means is that for a period of time, the price of Bitcoin has to remain at a certain price or above a certain price in order to stay above this red line. And so basically, for now, for a long period of time, you can expect really good performance from Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin is going to do really well, then logically, what you'd start expecting is that the Bitcoin ecosystem does well. Now, remember that in the previous halvings, we had a very small, almost a non-existent Bitcoin ecosystem. In this halving, we've got a whole flourishing, incredible Bitcoin ecosystem for you to make life-changing returns on. And if you look at how this Bitcoin ecosystem has been performing in the last 7 days, you got projects like Bitcoin Wizards, Maxi up 600%, Pups, which is, you can call it a meme coin. It's a movement more than a meme coin. But if you look at all of this, what you can see is that there's a whole lot of very, very, very good performers in the entire Bitcoin ecosystem. And as 𝗕𝗘𝗎𝗢 says, the BRC20 ecosystem is on fire, possibly fueled by Bitcoin halving. Today, the BRC20 market cap has skyrocketed 23%. So the one thing that we can see for sure is that this entire Bitcoin ecosystem, BRC-Fi, Bitcoin-Fi, Inscriptions-Fi, is about to take off, or definitely is one of the custodian ecosystems of the Bitcoin pump. But remember that this ecosystem is a very, very, very young ecosystem, which means that there aren't very many things that you can put your money on that are going to be safe bets. It's all quite risky bets. Now, in an ecosystem or in a chain where there's not many investments, and you're going to see two of those chains in today's show, but right now the biggest play on the chain is actually some kind of meme coin. So if you think about like the base ecosystem, there's not many places to invest. So where are people investing? They're investing in the meme coins. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. There are very few infrastructure plays that you can actually put your money in right now that are safe infrastructure plays. So where are people going to go? They're going to go to the meme coins. So you got to prep yourself to say, look, if I'm going to go play the Bitcoin ecosystem, then a large amount of what I actually do is I'm going to be playing meme coins or ordinals, which is like a kind of a meme coin. It's a NFT with no real use case. So we've made a spreadsheet for you. Of course, we'll drop the spreadsheet for you in the description after the show. And it shows you all the Bitcoin plays that we've actually started speaking about. So you've got 𝗤𝗧, which is the main play on ordinals. It's got a 1.6 billion fully diluted. Then you've got the DEX, which is 𝗤𝗧 Swap, which has 190 million fully diluted valuation. You've got 𝗤𝗧 Bank, which is the lending and borrowing. It's like the compound, 68 million. Then you've got Sats, Rats, Pups. These are like, you can call them the meme coins. So that's the Sats coin. Then you've got Rats, and you've got, let me see if I've got a picture of Rats for you. There we go, that's Rats. And then you've got Pups, Pups is like the newest, most hyped meme coin on Bitcoin. It says Pups is the first meme coin on Bitcoin, not affiliated with Opium. So this is these are the meme coins here. And then you've got Inscribe, which is the platform that makes inscriptions easily deployable from your wallet. So that's the one place that you can actually go to if you want to get exposure to these things. Remember, if you're going to play these things, you know you are buying meme coins, and therefore there's very little value to them. And when the market goes up, they'll go up a lot. But when the market goes down, you will see your ass, because that's just the way that it is. The next part that you can play is the Bitcoin layer 2s. And here, there are actually a lot more very cool projects actually coming up. So you've got Stacks. Stacks has got a huge market cap, 6.3 billion market cap. I just want to see what the Stacks chart actually looks like. STX. So let's quickly go to Stacks. Let's look at it on a 1-year time horizon. So you can see it's not at all-time high, but very, very, very close to all-time high. Stacks is probably the strongest layer 2 on Bitcoin. You got Alex Labs, which is the main DEX on Stacks. Remember, our thesis is you buy the infrastructure, which you'd buy stacks, then you'd buy the DEX, and then you'd buy the biggest meme coin. So who's the biggest meme coin? I think probably Welsh is probably the biggest meme coin. And then you've got a whole lot of other projects that you can look at here if you want to get exposure to this ecosystem. So that is the one part of the altcoin portfolios that is going to run. It's going to be the BRC20s, and it's going to be the Bitcoin layer 2s, which of course is stacks. As we said, if you want to get some exposure into the DEXs, Alex Lab is probably the biggest one. And if you want to get a meme coin, then Welsh, Corgi. Then we have one of our Banter bag sponsors, which is 𝗕𝗏. 𝗕𝗏 is it's a perpetuals DEX on Bitcoin using Stacks programming language. Remember, they gave us an allocation into the Banter bags. We do have the allocation in the Banter bags over there. And then there's another game, a gaming ecosystem on Bitcoin, which has also given us $1,000 allocation. Now, these Banter bags are getting absolutely huge. Now, if you want the Banter bags, guys, all you need to do, sign up to, subscribe to Banter, subscribe to Banter Plus, and just have any exchange account that we can pay you using a Crypto Banter link. Now, so we have Trex. As I said to you, it's this protocol over here. It's a simple gaming ecosystem. They had a IDO on 𝗕𝗘𝗩𝗢. Now, 𝗕𝗘𝗩𝗢 is also one of our sponsors, one of the great sponsors that has all the amazing platforms, all the amazing launches there. They've given us $1,000 into the Banter bag. So that's another one that you need to look at. Another one which is a very interesting play on a Bitcoin ecosystem token is Velodrome. Now, you may be looking at this and saying, hold on, isn't Velodrome the DEX on Optimism? And if you're thinking that, you're right. Like, Velodrome is the DEX on Optimism. So you want to ask yourself, why is the DEX on Optimism a good play if you want to get into Bitcoin or the Bitcoin ecosystem? So the answer lies in a project that's not yet launched. And that project is called Bob, Build on Bitcoin. So if you look at, let me just see if I can find you a little thing. So this is Bob, Build on Bitcoin. What is it? Effectively, it is a layer 2 that basically links EVM and Bitcoin. Bob's aim is to roll out the first Bitcoin layer 2 network that's compatible with Ethereum virtual machine standard. They raised $10 million, led by Castle Island Ventures. And this is one of the most promising ventures, or one of the most promising L2s on Bitcoin, because now they're combining Ethereum virtual machine with the Bitcoin ecosystem. So very, very, very exciting. And if you look at what we've written for you in the spreadsheet, we said they have a bet on, Velodrome has a bet on Bob, a Bitcoin layer 2. So the link is that Velodrome has an integration into Bob, into Bob. And that is why we think Velodrome may actually be a very good play. Now, there's another reason why Velodrome is a very good play. If you think at what all the hype is now on Ethereum, all the hype on Ethereum now is the Base layer 2. Base has a fork of Velodrome called Aerodrome, and that is the biggest DEX on Base, right? So you got Aerodrome, and the Aerodrome fully diluted market cap is 1.8 billion, right? That's, you can see it over there, 1.8 billion. The original DEX on Optimism has a market cap of 446 billion. And so there's a little bit of a disconnect there, obviously, because right now Base is running, but Aerodrome also has this integration into Bob. So you're also getting this Bitcoin exposure that's happening now. And then the last one, if you want to talk about Bitcoin exposure, is Zeus Network. So Zeus Network is a token that was launched last week. It is a Solana / Bitcoin play. Why? Because what they're doing is they're wrapping Bitcoin on Solana. They're bringing Bitcoin onto the Solana network. So this was a launch that was actually done last week. So this is how I would get exposure to the Bitcoin ecosystem. Another one you could play is you could play Tectum. Tectum is a way to transfer Bitcoin really, really, really quickly. I've spoken about them before. They were one of our sponsors. They're not exactly a sponsor anymore, but the sponsorship ran out. But they're still a good partner and good friend of the channel. And the reason why we like them so much is because they've come up with a very cheap way and fast way to move Bitcoin. How they do it is they built their own blockchain. And instead of sending the Bitcoin, they just send a password to the wallet, which I think is called a soft note, or a, I don't remember exactly what they call the note, but soft notes. Yes, they call the notes soft notes. So these are the bets that you could play on the Bitcoin ecosystem. But remember, a lot of them are just meme coins. And any time that you have an ecosystem that has very young projects, people flock to that ecosystem and play their meme coins to try and get exposure to the ecosystem. So you got to be careful, because remember, you don't want to be caught holding worthless meme coins at the end of the cycle. You got to get in and you got to get out. You got to get in, take your profits, and get out. All right, so that is the Bitcoin ecosystem. But as I said to you when we started the show, the real alpha is not the Bitcoin ecosystem. Funny enough, when the halving actually happens, the biggest custodian is not actually the Bitcoin ecosystem. The biggest custodian when the halving actually happens, believe it or not, is the altcoins. And in fact, when everybody has been pronouncing ETH dead, and everyone's saying, look, the ETH BTC chart will never ever move again, and we're in this position right now, where the ETH BTC chart has actually been stagnant since March 2017. If you look at the ETH BTC chart, ETH is exactly the same place relative to Bitcoin that it was in 2017. But what most people don't realize is when the halving actually happens, the biggest custodian of the halving is actually the ETH BTC pair. So what that means is that ETH starts to outperform Bitcoin after the halving, while the whole market is actually starting to run. So as you can see, we did this for you. Now there's a reason why we didn't do it for you into the previous halving, because ETH didn't actually exist in the previous halving. But in the 2020 halving, what you can see is that ETH BTC kind of bottomed on the halving day, which is 10 days away. And then actually ETH starts to wake up. Now, this is not the ETH chart. It's the ETH relative to Bitcoin. And so what you can see is that we're about to hit a period where if we follow the patterns of the last halving, we're going to get into a position where the ETH chart starts to rocket. And when the ETH actually starts to rocket, we're actually going to get an altcoin run. So Sheldon posted this and he says, who's ready for an altcoin acceleration? Once we break the 0.618 weekly, we truly start to push up hard. So what you're starting to see is that the stars are actually aligning. We're going to get the halving. After we get the halving, the BTC ETH chart starts to run. As the BTC ETH chart starts to run, so do the altcoins start to run, and that starts the parabolic run in the altcoin cycle. And so the first part of that altcoin cycle parabolic run is actually ETH. And right now, what you can see when it comes to ETH is that the biggest driver of ETH is actually the base chain. So all the hype, all the activity is actually coming from Base, and Base is doing unbelievably well. You can see they say a big month for Base, 7.8 billion in March in terms of volume. In the last 30 days, Base outstripped ETH and Arbitrum in transaction volumes. As it stands, the only ETH layer 2 amongst the top 5 to record an increase in TVL over the past few weeks. So Base is, because of their cheap transactions, is getting a lot of new users. And because of this meme coin mania, which is happening on Base, which we'll cover in a second, it is getting all the hype. So you can see it's users, it's TVL, it's transactions, all happening very, very, very fast on Base. You can see that Base is processing more transactions in Ethereum, Optimism, Blast, Darknet, and DYDX combined. But in terms of TVL, Base still has quite a long way to go. So you can see in terms of TVL, they've only got a 4.35 billion and Arbitrum's got a 20 billion. Now, the reason why that's happened is because Arbitrum's been around for longer and more protocols have been built on Arbitrum. And therefore, on Arbitrum, you've got a lot of perpetuals, dexes, and a whole lot of other stuff, which you don't have on Base yet. And so it's going to take at least one cycle for all those to start moving. But until then, what people are doing is they're taking a play. They can't take a play on Base. So they're taking a play on the meme coins and the dexes. So the meme coin, the biggest dex, as we said, is Aerodrome. Great dex. I just think that at a $2 billion fully diluted valuation, I kind of look at this and I go, well, how much upside is there? Like, how much money am I going to make if I put my money right now into Aerodrome? Can it double? Yeah, sure it can double. But I'm not here for 2x's. I'm here for much bigger than 2x's. And so what people like me are doing is they decided that they are moving. Because there's no exposure to the channel, to the chain, what they're doing to get exposure to the chain is they're going after the meme coins. Remember, as I said to you, when people want to get involved in a chain and the chain itself is too expensive or they can't get into the chain like Base, then what do? They use the meme coins as a proxy to the chain, which is great as long as everybody else is doing the same. But when the market turns, it's almost like one of our researchers this morning called it. He said, it's the low IQ play. And he says that in a bull market, what you got to do is you got to put your IQ, you got to throw your IQ away and basically lose your high IQ, not try to outsmart the market, but just be dumb like the market. And so what the smart money is doing is it's being dumb money at the moment and says, you don't actually need a reason for things to go up. You just need to follow the dumb money and the dumb money will send the money up. So as smart money, what we do now is we put our IQs in our pocket and we say, if the whole market is aping into meme coins to get exposure to chains where they can't actually get exposure to the chain, we need to do the same. And that's exactly what's happening right now. People are going into the meme coins. We spoke about Brett, which has, just quickly just go look at what Brett's market cap is. We are investors in Brett. We hold a lot of Brett, because we think that it can be the biggest meme coin on base. And if you look, yesterday we had a meme coin show, and one of the guys, Crash, I think his name is. What's his name? Crash was his name. He said that if you look at the biggest meme coin on ETH, on Doge, on ETH, it's SHIB, and if you look at the biggest meme coin on Solana, it's WIF, they've got a 4 to 5 billion market cap. And he says, well, what's to stop Brett from getting to a 4 to 5 million market cap as the biggest meme coin on base? Then you got like all the other ones, Toshi, you've got Base NG, which is I think this is, for me, this is between this and Moki, those are the two bets for the lower FDV coins that can actually explode. So like that's where, those are my two outliers, where I think that low market cap coins that can actually explode. But one big thing about these coins, make sure that at the end of the bull market, or whenever you think that there's going to be a big red candle, you're not left holding the meme coins. Because the smart money follows the dumb money, because they say, well, you want to be smart, just be dumb. Just be completely dumb and just follow the dumb money. Problem is that as soon as the market goes down, you need your IQ back. And you need to go, oh my God, what the hell was I doing? So you got to do it. Someone said Roost as well. Roost is also a very good one. We're big fans of Roost. There it is. 77 market cap. Big fans of Roost. We spoke about it yesterday on the show. We actually spoke about a couple yesterday on the show. We spoke about Roost. I think Roost had a very good pump once they heard what we had to say about it on the show last night. Our show last night was actually on Banter Plus. A lot of people saying they didn't see the show last night. It was on Banter Plus. You need to follow Banter Plus. After we spoke about Roost, it's 45% up. The other one which we spoke about last night is we spoke about Resistance Dog. If you're not watching our meme coin shows on Sunday, what's wrong with you? You're basically giving away free money. Look what happened to Resistance Dog after we spoke about it last night. 100% up. You would have made 100% if you just watched our meme coin show last night. So that is where... So ETH being driven by Base. Base right now, very difficult to invest. So people are investing mainly in the meme coins. That's driving up the transactions and slightly driving up the TVL. The other reason why Base is flying right now is actually because Solana is not doing very well. When I say not doing very well, don't know if you guys have tried to put through any transactions on Solana, but let me tell you, I put through 10 transactions on Solana this weekend. Thought all my transactions went through. The transactions didn't actually go through. It didn't get any of the buys that I wanted. So you can see that I'm not the only one. Someone says, been sending an instant and successful transactions to Base all weekend for 0.03 cents, or for 3 cents. This Ethereum thing is pretty cool and reliable. And I kind of understand what he's saying. He's saying, ETH is expensive, Sol is not processing transactions, so all roads actually lead to Base. And so you get Solana, Duo9, he is a bit of a Solana FUD account. He's a very good account, but he's a bit of a Solana FUD account. He says Solana's transactions are failing 8 times out of 10. And I know that this is actually happening. Someone says, I'm a big fan of Solana, but they need to fix their network outages. Let me know in the comments if you guys have got, if you guys have been speaking about it, if you guys have had the same problems. I agree though with the following. The first thing is, I agree with what Andre Cronje says, and he says, this is a success problem for Solana. No other blockchain in history has had to handle as many transactions for as long a period of time as a Solana blockchain has had to handle. I just want to give you guys perspective of how big this Solana thing is. So this is the Solana daily active addresses and the Solana daily transactions. This is Base. The blue line over here is Base. And this is Solana. So you can see that even with all this activity on Base, it doesn't even come close to Solana. Solana is the only one that actually has to get battle tested at these levels. And this is what 𝗓𝗏𝗓𝗓 says. He says, seeing a lot of I told you so's on Solana because of their check notes, Solana currently has so much demand for block space that they need to optimize some bottlenecks, which is also, by the way, is an engineering hurdle and not a fault of the consensus or any critical component. So they will get through it. It's just right now, it's quite frustrating. And this frustration is actually sending a lot of people to Base. And so for now, there's a thing on Base. But don't lose sight of the real picture, of the big picture. And that is that this is what the Solana, the daily transactions look like on Solana. I mean, just to give you an idea, 1.2 million versus 25 million. The daily active addresses on Base, 329,000 versus 1.4 million on Solana. You can't compare the scale. And no other blockchain has been battle tested under these conditions before. The only one is Solana. And so before people pass opinions and say, oh, we've got to go into Base because Solana is dead. Chill out. Let's see what happens to Base when we 10x the transactions. I don't think it's going to go down, but you may start noticing some issues that we have. Now, when is this going to happen? Well, remember that Base is launching a new wallet. So Coinbase is launching a new smart wallet. The new smart wallet doesn't have private keys. A smart wallet is an on-chain wallet built to make it easier than ever for users to get started. It exists entirely in the browser. No need to install extensions or apps. It uses passkeys for signing. No need for phrases, no passwords, no third parties. You get one wallet everywhere across all major L2s. So this is going to bring out 100 million wallets into the Coinbase ecosystem. And so I think now we're starting to get a 3-horse race. As I said to you, I've called this 3-horse race for a long time. Solana, Base, and Telegram. Those are my 3 ecosystems. If you want to be buying meme coins, Solana, Base, Telegram. That's why I said Roost. That's why I said Brett. That's why I said BaseNG. That's why I said 𝗥𝗑𝗢𝗢. We spoke about it all on the meme coin show last night. Solana, Resistance Dog on Telegram, and maybe one others. There's people in the chat saying Anon on Telegram. I thought that Anon was on Solana, but you might be right. Yeah, so that's that. The other narrative, which is actually pushing Base or pushing ETH, is EigenLayer. So don't discount EigenLayer. EigenLayer is a massive narrative, a restaking narrative specifically, which is going to push Ethereum. Now, I don't know when it's going to happen. I've heard that's going to happen in April, May. I've also heard it's going to happen in June. But what I do know is that this is going to bring a new dimension into Ethereum. You know, this restaking of the restaked tokens is going to push of the stake tokens is going to push a massive narrative on Ethereum. So that would also fire up this ETH BTC narrative. There's a lot happening for ETH in the next couple of months, which are actually going to push it up. By the way, I know a lot of you want to stake on EigenLayer and can't stake on EigenLayer because EigenLayer aren't taking any more deposits, right? And like we know this. There is actually a play. So we're investors in a protocol. It's called 𝗕𝗘𝗢𝗢. What 𝗕𝗘𝗢𝗢 allows you to do is to basically stake your ETH or your staked ETH. While you're doing this, you earn EigenLayer points. So it's the same thing as staking on EigenLayer points, but you don't have to stake through EigenLayer. And they've actually bought up extra EigenLayer, 5 million EigenLayer points, which they will give to you. I think there is a link in the description. If not, there will be a link in the description. There will be a link in the description. We'll add a link in the description for you guys so that you can use our 𝗕𝗘𝗢𝗢 link to actually stake and get EigenLayer points if you can't stake on EigenLayer anymore. What else is there? There is, new narratives coming up. We will talk about those over the week. I think the friend tech narrative, the SocialFi narrative is going to be a big narrative. We will talk about it later in the week. I did take a position, and I'm going to take more of a position using my BitGet account on GMX. And the reason I want to take a position on GMX is because Arthur Hayes seems to have sold some of his GMX position. And so the market went and flooded GMX. So I took a massive position on my Bybit account. You can see I've got $12,000, $500,000 position here on GMX. I think I'm also going to take a small position on my BitGet account. Remember, I'm trying to build this BitGet account. It hasn't been that successful yet, but it will be. So $40.42, I think it's worth taking a small position here. Probably take 1,000 of them. And let me open a long position over here. I just think that the market, because Arthur Hayes is selling, doesn't change the fundamental. Holy shit. Okay, BitGet's very, very, very serious about their buy orders. So I just took another position in GMX. Why? Because the news is that 𝗕𝗘𝗢𝗢 has sold. It doesn't fundamentally change the fundamentals of GMX. GMX is still a great protocol. So for me, that's, just because one person's selling and the market's like starting to freak out, doesn't mean that I'm changing my thesis. And therefore I use the dip to actually buy more. I did post that actually earlier in Frontrunners for those of you who are in Frontrunners. All right, lastly, remember, if you want to be farming Gummy, there's only 3 ways to do it. Let's change the song.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gummy.
Welcome to Gummy.
Yummy, yummy. Stress, take a gummy.
So remember, you can get the airdrop here. The only way to get the airdrop is to use Banter Bubbles. I think the best way to get it is to sign up for the Bitcoin to sign up for 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Sign up for 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Sign up to 𝗏𝗏𝗏. If you sign up to 𝗏𝗏𝗏, you'll get your airdrop directly into the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 account when they list the Gummy on 420. You're also running out of time because you've got 13 days left or 12 days left to farm your gummies.
Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Gummy, a 420 wheat gummy bear, ready to take the Solana ecosystem by storm.
All the content that you see on the Gummy Twitter page is all made by the community. None of us made this. Everything is made by the community.
The sweetest returns come from not sweating the small stuff. Launched by Crypto Banter. Don't miss it. Are you ready? Stress, take a gummy.
Alright guys, I will see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.